Hi, this is my review of the movie The Eyes. I went into The Eyes knowing basically nothing about it. I didn't read the synopsis, didn't watch the trailer. I went in completely unsullied. So it was a nice surprise to come out on the other end, having watched a pretty solid suspense thriller. It's a low bar, but I think it's the best suspense thriller out of Korea in 2026 so far. Shinmina plays a dual role as twin sisters, Seojin and Seoin. Seojin is a renowned photographer and Seoin is a sculptor. Kim Nami is a small-town detective looking out for Seojin, and Kim Young-ah plays a detective based out of Seoul. Lee Seung-yong is Seojin's ex-boyfriend who is still very much obsessed with her. The setup is that Seojin's twin sister dies suddenly under suspicious circumstances, and Seojin sets out to find out what actually happened. The further she gets into it, some mysterious presence starts to close in on her, and she spirals into paranoia while her eyesight is gradually fading away from her. The movie sets this up in the beginning pretty early on. Seojin was in an abusive relationship with a former boyfriend who is still very fixated on her, and he is stalking and tormenting her right from the opening scenes. These early stalker moments are actually sort of a misdirect because what this movie actually is a murder mystery, with Seojin investigating her sister's death. I'll say the opening stretch does drag a little bit before the actual mystery kicks in properly, but after that the pacing picks up pretty well, though I would still manage your expectations. This is not an action thriller, it's more of a procedural. You are working your way through clues and trying to investigate various situations instead of experiencing constant thrills. An aspect I enjoyed from the movie is the way that the visual storytelling is told. The director gets a lot out of the shadows, POV shots, what is kept in or out of a frame, both to build tension and to hide information from you. It works best when you're seeing through Seojin's failing eyesight. Like, there are moments when you're trying to scan through the dark, trying to work out whether someone is hiding in a corner, and your attention gets drawn into certain parts of the screen, and while your visual is pulled into one part of the screen, it turns out the actual subject in question was hiding in a different part the whole time. It's sort of a visual magic trick, and even though you are getting tricked, it left a fun impression on me. There's also the way certain characters are framed. Like, some shots feel very awkward and kind of off kilter, but it's done in a very deliberate way. It's less about spoiling something in the moment, but more about giving you this feeling of uneasiness when certain people are on the screen. It's a very subtle signal that something's not quite right with a certain character before the actual reveals happen in the latter half. If you are a fan of the thriller genre, you will spot a lot of Hollywood homages here. There are nods to classic thrillers all over The Eyes, like whole scenes that call back to some of the best the genre has produced. I am hesitant to name any of them because even just mentioning the titles of some of these movies is gonna give away a lot of the ending. So instead, here's what I'm gonna do. At the very end of this review, I will throw up on the screen the posters of the films that I think inspired this movie. So if you are curious which movie served as inspiration, please stick to the end. If you are a fan of thriller films though, I'm warning you, just the poster itself is gonna inform you a lot about what's gonna happen in this movie. And while a lot of other films have served as inspiration, for me it felt like they are genuine homages instead of blatant cheap ripoffs. It all did fit well into the flow of the story. Even with all the familiar genre pieces in play, the movie does an adequate job of keeping the viewer unsure of who the killer is for a good chunk of the movie. And the blindness angle does a lot of work here to keep the scenes very intense. I'll even give a pass to the jump scares. Like, usually I'm not a fan of jump scares because I find it a bit cheap and a little annoying. But here the jump scares do serve as bits of foreshadowing, so because of the dual role, I will give it a pass. The blindness aspect isn't just there for scares either. It is a central metaphor for the movie, and I think also a pretty decent one. Seojin's condition is the literal translation of blindness and just being unable to see things in front of her. But on top of that, she's constantly dreaming and dredging up memories to the point where the viewer also starts to doubt whether what you're seeing is real or not. But the interpretation I enjoy more is that Seojin keeps getting overlooked by the police and the people that are supposed to help her because they are also blind to the signs and the clues that are so obvious to Seojin. Shinmina is good in her dual role, though I wouldn't call it a standout of hers. It's a solid performance more than a memorable one. What I did appreciate was the detail around the two sisters. One is a photographer and the other one is a sculptor. And the easy reading here is that, photography ties into the blindness. You're trying to capture something visual before it gets lost from her. But the film actually does use the photography angle into the climactic scenes as well. It does end up mattering to the plot for the final moments, and it's not just a character detail. So because of that payoff, I appreciated it even more. It's these sort of details and how it all comes together in the end that gave this feeling that the director put a lot of thought into the movie, and it enhances the overall experience. In closing, The Eyes, it's slow to start. It's more of a procedural than a thrill ride, but it's a well-made thriller that knows the genre that it's working in. It is the best and only Korean thriller of the year that I think is worth watching. Okay, so spoiler warning, some movie posters are going to come up soon. So if you don't want to be influenced by what movies inspired this movie, this is your cue to look away or stick around. Else, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.